What happens when a really good person steps into a world that's not so good? That's the story of The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. The book follows Prince Myshkin, a man who's honest and kind as he returns to Russia. He meets many people who are often tricky and selfish. His goodness shows us a lot about them. This novel is about seeing if good can really work when everything around you isn't. It's full of drama and surprises that make us think about right and wrong. If you've wondered about these big questions but feel like the book's 656 pages are too much to read right now, don't worry. I'm going to sum up the whole story for you faster than you can say existential crisis, so hang tight to get the full scoop on The Idiot, where we watch a really nice guy handle some tough situations and learn big lessons about life. But before that, tell us in the comments what other novels we should summarize. Now let's begin. So, our story starts with Prince Myshkin, a young man returning to Russia after spending years in a Swiss clinic for his epilepsy. On his train ride to St. Petersburg, he encounters Rogozin, a passionate man who has just inherited a fortune and is obsessed with a beautiful woman named Nastasia Filipovna. Upon arriving, Myshkin is set to reconnect with his distant relative, Lizaveta Prokofyevna, and address some business affairs. Meanwhile, a complex situation unfolds involving Nastasia Filipovna. She is being pursued for marriage by a man named Ganya, whom she does not love. The marriage arrangement is seen as a solution by Ganya's employer Totsky, Nastasia's former guardian, who wishes to marry off Nastasia to free himself from her influence. As Myshkin meets Lizaveta and her family, his kindness and open-hearted nature draw them in. He shares his views and stories from his life, earning their respect and curiosity. However, tensions rise when Nastasia Filipovna visits the apartment where Myshkin is staying, which also houses Ganya and his family. Her unexpected arrival and the subsequent entrance of Rogozin with his rowdy friends escalate the situation. A bidding war for Nastasia's affection erupts, and the scene becomes chaotic when she mocks Ganya, leading to a heated confrontation. Later, at Nastasia Filipovna's birthday party, the tension peaks. A proposed game leads to confessions and uncomfortable truths. When Nastasia seeks Myshkin's advice on whether to marry Ganya, he advises against it. She announces her decision to the party, rejecting Ganya and causing a stir. Just then, Rogozin returns with an offer of a huge sum of money for her. In a dramatic twist, Myshkin proposes to Nastasia, declaring his sincere feelings. Overwhelmed but moved, Nastasia throws Rogozin's money into the fire, challenging Ganya to retrieve it and leaves with Rogozin. Myshkin, concerned and caring, follows him to ensure Nastasia's safety. What will become of Myshkin and Nastasia? How will these intense emotions and tangled relationships resolve? On the other hand, Nastasia has been really unsure about her feelings. She's stuck between Myshkin, the kind prince who cares deeply for her, and Rogozin, whose love is intense but also frightening. Myshkin is worried about her because he can see how much she's struggling. Rogozin, on the other hand, is driven by jealousy and even talks about harming her. Despite their problems, Myshkin and Rogozin still end their meeting as friends, though it's clear there's a lot of tension. After they part, Myshkin is so troubled that he wanders the city streets for hours, thinking hard about everything. His fear that Rogozin might be following him turns out to be right. Just as he gets back to his hotel, Rogozin attacks him. Luckily, at that very moment, Myshkin has a seizure, best self-defense method ever, and Rogozin, panicked, runs away. Once Myshkin gets better, he moves to a summer town called Pavlovsk, where he knows Nastasia is staying. He finds out she's nearby because his landlord, Lebedev, keeps track of her. While he's settling in, the Epanchins come to visit. Aglaya, one of their daughters, seems to really like Myshkin and shows it by reciting a poem about a noble knight, hinting that she sees Myshkin as a hero. But their peaceful visit is suddenly interrupted. A young man named Burdovsky shows up claiming he's the son of Myshkin's late benefactor and demands money. He's got a group of rough friends who back him up, but it turns out his claim is false, and Myshkin knows it. Still, he's so kind that he offers them money anyway. This makes everyone really upset. Lizaveta Prokofyevna, the mother of the Epanchin family, loses her temper big time. In the middle of all this drama, one of Burdovsky's friends, Idíot, who is very sick, suddenly says he's dying and asks everyone for love and understanding. This touching moment makes everyone emotional, but then Idíot turns around and starts yelling at Myshkin, leaving with his friends in anger. Just when things couldn't get more tense, Nastasia shows up in a fancy carriage. She shouts to everyone not to worry about some debts because Rogozin has taken care of them. Then she just leaves, and everyone is left stunned, especially Myshkin and Yevgeny Pavlovich, who doesn't even know what debts she's talking about. In the next part of our story, Prince Myshkin faces love, danger, and dramatic confrontations. As he navigates his feelings for Aglaya, who can't seem to decide if she adores or scorns him, a public scandal throws their lives into chaos. So, Prince Myshkin, still caught in a web of complex relationships, visits the Epanchins at their summer home. He's falling more and more for Aglaya, who finds him equally fascinating yet frustrating because of his innocent ways. Their budding relationship faces a test when they all head to the park and unexpectedly bump into Nastasia Filipovna and Rogozin. The day takes a wild turn when Nastasia makes a shocking announcement that leaves everyone reeling. Back at the Epanchin's home, Aglaya secretly passes a note to Myshkin, sparking his curiosity with a mysterious request to meet. Meanwhile, the fallout from Nastasia's revelations continues to disturb her family, particularly after the truth of her claims is confirmed. Just when Myshkin thinks he can catch his breath, he's pulled into plans for a duel and a strange birthday celebration that promises to be anything but ordinary. At the party, laughter and philosophical debates fill the air until Ippolit, one of the guests, brings everyone down to earth with a harrowing announcement about his own fate. He wants to shoot himself. His drastic decision leads to a tense moment when the gun doesn't shoot and Ippolit faints. After the chaotic party, Myshkin and Aglaya have a deep conversation that could change their futures forever. Misunderstandings about love letters and passionate pleas lead to a confrontation that neither is prepared for. As Myshkin wrestles with his feelings, Nastasia makes a heart-wrenching decision about her future. She's going to leave, forever. In this way, Prince Myshkin's story takes a full turn of emotional highs and lows, caught between the affections of two women. As the tension grows, Lizaveta Prokofievna and General Epanchin realize their daughter Aglaya is in love with Prince Myshkin. Despite this, Aglaya vehemently denies any romantic feelings and dismisses the idea of marrying him. She continues to tease and challenge Myshkin, making it clear she's not yet done dealing with Nastasia Filipovna, the other woman vying for Myshkin's attention. Hoping to integrate Myshkin into their aristocratic circle, Lizaveta arranges a dinner party with some important guests. Aglaya, worried about Myshkin's unconventional ways, half-jokingly tells him to go ahead and be his eccentric self, even if it means breaking her mother's cherished Chinese vase. At the party, Myshkin's nerves are overshadowed by his happiness to be with Aglaya. The tension builds, and he brings up Nastasia Filipovna, prompting Aglaya to leave abruptly. The dinner starts well, with Myshkin impressed by the charming and elegant guests. However, things go downhill when he passionately criticizes the Catholic Church, leading to an outburst that ends with the accidental destruction of the vase Aglaya had mentioned. His rant leaves the guests stunned, and his seizure shortly afterwards leaves Aglaya distressed and worried. The next day brings more complications. Ippolit informs Myshkin that some people have been stirring trouble, affecting Aglaya's feelings by bringing up Nastasia Filipovna. Later, Aglaya orchestrates a secret meeting involving herself, Myshkin, Nastasia Filipovna, and Rogozin. The meeting turns into a dramatic confrontation, with Aglaya and Nastasia exchanging harsh words. Overwhelmed by the situation, Nastasia asks Myshkin to stay with her, leading to a painful moment where Aglaya leaves in anguish. In the whirlwind of events, Myshkin and Nastasia Filipovna become engaged, causing a scandal that leads to the Epanchins to sever ties with them. Myshkin tries to explain his actions, but misunderstandings and his impending marriage to Nastasia clouds everything. On the wedding day, the unexpected happens. Nastasia Filipovna flees with Rogozin. Myshkin, shocked but calm, tries to keep his composure. The search for Nastasia leads him back to Rogozin's house, where he's confronted with a horrifying scene. Nastasia has been murdered by Rogozin. The tragic outcome sends Myshkin back to a sanatorium in Switzerland, his mental health shattered. Meanwhile, Aglaya makes a drastic decision that distances her even further from her family, eloping with a man who is not what he seems. In the epilogue, we learn the final fates of her characters. Rogozin is sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in Siberia. Myshkin loses his mind completely and returns to the Swiss sanitarium, and Aglaya leaves Russia with a Polish count who deceives her and soon abandons her. That was The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. From the hopeful beginnings to the tragic end, the character showed us a side of human nature that is both deeply compassionate and destructively passionate. If you enjoyed this video and want more summaries of some of the most compelling stories out there, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support allows us to keep bringing you content that gets you thinking and maybe even seeing the world a bit differently. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. See you next time.